to me, success with AI is not hinged on the fastest chips, the latest models, the smartest people. All of these are important and they're going to be pretty helpful, but like real success with AI is when you get your people to wake up every day and want to use it. The rest of that will then follow.
Welcome to Data and AI Mastery, the podcast where we bring you cutting-edge insights, practical advice, and inspiring stories from the leaders shaping the future of data and AI across the globe. I'm your host, Raoul Gabriel Irma, founder of Cambridge Spark, the leader in transformational data and AI upskilling, career development, and progression. In each episode, I will be diving into real-world case studies of companies harnessing the power of AI to drive innovation, reduce costs, and create new business opportunities. So whether you're an aspiring data scientist, AI engineer, or seasoned executive, this show is designed to give you the tools and knowledge to stay ahead in a world where data is transforming every aspect of business. Stay ahead, stay inspired, stay masterful. Welcome to Data and AI Mastery. Hey James, so good to see you again. How are you today?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Feeling great. Really excited about our discussion today. You've done so much great work in the field, so I can't wait to ask you a few questions. So I thought a good way to start. So you're the Chief Business Officer in the Emerging Technology Group at UBS. Can you help the audience understand what does the role entail?
Sure. So the emerging technology part of UBS is focused on the rollout of artificial intelligence, how we are progressing in the field of digital assets, and also looking at some investments in, or strategic investments in, the fintech space. My role as the Chief Business Officer is kind of synonymous with being the COO of that part of the area. So helping to shape the strategy and then helping to bring it to life.
Awesome. That's really important mission, and especially in today's environment. So I'd love to ask you a bit more about yourself, actually. So what were some of the pivotal moments or decision that shaped your career to get to where you are today?
So interestingly, I'd say with each step along the way, there has been an inflection point. So that will kind of play through here. So I started as a grad 18 years ago at UBS in the back office. Think of pre-financial crisis, pre-offshoring, many respects pre the intelligent use of desktop computers. And one of the kind of the skills that I really focused on there was Six Sigma, process excellence, how to get to your outcomes faster. A major event happened at the bank, took it as an inflection point, and that allowed me to then reinvent myself. And this time I came back as a business manager. So I started life on the trading floor and eventually became the COO for the European equities trading business. In this role, very much focused on strategy, people, and connecting experts. Again, so a reorg, something changed. That led me to another job, this time in cost management. All of a sudden, I needed to have a different skill set. I had 100 million rows of data that I needed to analyze and generate insights from. So my focus very much moved to analytics and storytelling. And then the combination of those roles, the relationships, the skills that I built, that helped to open up this opportunity for me. And then I guess so with each shift, there was really a catalyst. Might have been a reorg, a change of management, a crisis, but that gave me a natural moment each time to ask myself, who am I and who do I actually want to be?
That's a really inspiring story from a graduate to Chief Business Officer. So that's super cool for the next generation of graduates, actually. That could follow suit. So it sounds like you've mentioned it required a lot of adaptability and adapting to circumstances. What would you say were sort of core skills or mindset actually that help you navigate the situation and grow into the leadership positions?
I think it's probably three: being curious, being collaborative, and being able to communicate. So curiosity drives innovation. I think we all know that helps you stay ahead. For me, it's about keeping your eyes and ears open, speaking to as many interesting people as you can. As a COO, being able to collaborate is crucial. You need to understand. I think really the biggest thing that plays through there is the sense of empathy. You have to understand who you're talking to. You have to understand what language they work in and what makes them tick. And then the communication bit, you need to learn quite early on how to tell a story. Learn the basics of telling a story. Start with the context, give them some friction or something interesting, and then show them what the ending can look like. Once you get those basics and you understand how to communicate, you're really much better able to sort of inspire and mobilize the teams around you. I think from I think the final say I would say as a mindset perspective is, as a COO, you need to work out when you know enough, but never try and know more than others around you. Never try and outperform the experts. Your job is often to bring those people together, create an environment where they want to collaborate, and then let the work do that, like do itself. That's the only way that you can actually achieve scale. If you find yourself that you're trying to be the expert, then you have to be in every room. You don't want that to be the case.
Great. So I'd love to now talk a little bit more about, sort of your work on a day-to-day. So I know that's part of your role. Developing an AI-first culture is really paramount. So could you help us understand what motivated UBS to explore this avenue, and what does it actually mean to have an AI-first culture specifically at UBS?
Sure. So I guess the context is important. UBS has been is a huge financial institution. We've been working with machine learning, AI, for probably the best part of a decade now. We've got various different applications for how we can trade for our clients, recommending the next best action for our client advisors, all the way through to back office teams, preventing, detecting fraud, the usual kind of banking use cases. I guess what's changed recently is with the introduction of generative AI, and that has changed the world quite a lot, and it's changed how we think quite a lot. Previously, AI was something that was a fairly narrow topic, understood by very few and used in some narrow scenarios. Generative AI has done an incredible thing, really, and brought AI into the dictionary of almost all employees across the organization. So I hate to use the sort of the cliche of democratizing AI, but that's the truth. It really has kind of opened up the opportunity for that to happen. Now, as part of that, we started to form a strategy for the group. We'd actually not had one before. And when we were creating that strategy, it became pretty clear that this didn't feel like just another technology or another tool that we were trying to roll out. It felt that it was bigger than that. And actually to get this right, or to get the impact that we thought was possible, then we needed to think about this much more as almost like a business transformation rather than the deployment of a given tool. So for us, an AI first culture is a place where when you do wake up in the morning and you log on and you're faced with a challenge, whether that be a micro one or a macro one, so a day-to-day task or a bigger thing that you're trying to solve for, then we're asking ourselves first, can I do this better? Can I do this faster? Or can I do it more efficiently with AI? We're trying to get to a place that we're incorporating AI into our decision-making sort of capabilities and into how we live and breathe as employees at UBS.
Great. So if I play this back, so an AI first culture is about empowering your whole workforce to think more creatively, innovatively, identify opportunities for efficiencies, for speed, and so on, which sounds great, right? But why is that so significant, actually? Like, why is that so important?
I guess the bit that I should have mentioned is not just what it is, but also what it isn't. It isn't about replacing humans with AI. It's really this kind of concept of augmenting humans with AI and allowing our employees to be more empowered to make better and faster decisions for our clients. I think the other thing that we considered is we've all got eyes and ears. We can see this happening across the industry. We can see the pace of change and the level of investment that's going in. This doesn't feel like such a good time to be standing still as it relates to this technology.
So I imagine building an AI first culture at this scale is not an easy feat. So I'd love to hear from you, what initiative is UBS implementing to drive this transformation at such huge scale, right?
First, let's just to ensure that I'm answering the question that you're asking. If I think about culture, I'm thinking about shared values, mindsets, behaviors, the kind of the unwritten rules of how things get done at UBS. And things we can do to shape it are kind of how we lead through that, the communications we have, but importantly, the everyday actions and what people feel as an organization. So we kicked off with that strategy that I've mentioned earlier on, and the messaging around that strategy has been clear and repetitive, I would say, in that it's clear that it went to every single employee. It's quite unusual that a strategy like this is shared with everyone, but it did go to everyone, and it's been to them multiple times. It's been to them as a standalone strategy, but then it's incorporated into the firm's broader strategy, or into the division or the function, or wherever the employee may sit, into their individual strategies. And that repetition is quite important to really bring home the importance of that. I think the other thing that we have to recognize here is, and again, I mentioned empathy. With AI, one size does not fit all. Like it just simply doesn't work. So we think about our group we think about our organization into different groups, groups that have commonalities, and then we go about tackling each of those differently. So if we think about those groups, think about how the needs of our executive board might differ to the needs of sort of mid to senior level business heads, how the needs of our control functions might differ to the needs of our individual the data scientists or practitioners, or even how they differ to just the general population, the other 100,000+ people that we've got here. So we do different things for different people. I'll share some examples for you. One of the things we did very early on that proved pretty valuable was to pair up our most senior leaders with experts in data science and offer them almost like an AI mentor to help them on a one-to-one basis understand more about this technology and what was possible with it. We set about building a program for our specialists. We actually came up with a very structured approach where you go through, earn the right badges, and eventually you become certified as a data scientist. We have a couple of thousand people actually working towards their certification right now. And then the final piece, which I think is becoming more common, is almost taking from what we see in outside of work in the concept of an influencer. So we have a champions network where we pick out who those influencers are across the organization, and we make sure that they have both a common sort of dialogue or a common set of points, but then they're the guys who are actually working with the teams and are working to bring this to life.
You mentioned tailored initiative to specific group was quite important. Why would you say that's so important? Because I guess you said AI for financial controller, the content is quite different from AI, let's say, in the trading division, perhaps.
One of the reasons that stories fail to, when people tell them in a business sense, one of the reasons they fail to have impact is because they're not tailored. People often are telling you what they know rather than telling you what you think the audience needs to hear. So if we think about that in the sense of some of these initiatives, are we trying to get our senior leaders to understand the inner workings of a large language model, or just roughly what they're capable of? Are we trying to get our controllers understanding how to where best to apply AI, or are we trying to get them to understand how best to challenge AI such that it's the risk is sort of identified and mitigated, respecting the fact that each of these groups are at different places, have different needs, and different sort of the kind of the diversity of that audience, I think, is just so key, that if you try and do something for everyone, it's only gonna work for a small proportion of them. which is why we believe so strongly in making sure that we're designing things for the right audiences to help them. Everyone's on a different journey. Not everyone's going to get to the same destination, but we're hoping we can get people at least 1 or 2 steps along the way on their journey.
Great. So it's worth the investment in tailoring the story, the message, and the initiatives for different groups. That makes a lot of sense. And concretely, what does it look like? Is it a series of webinars? Is it like documents that people read? Like, can you like paint a bit of a picture? What does it take from a cultural management point of view to kind of like make it all happen?
So yeah, great question. Here's where I guess my encyclopedic knowledge of what we've been up to hopefully is helpful for you. So different things for different people. Okay, so senior leaders we think are less likely to have the luxury of time and be doing Coursera type courses or logging on and doing long curriculum. So with a lot of the senior leadership engagement, typically it's in person, and that might be the mentoring stuff that we mentioned. That might be hosting fireside chats with industry experts, or it might actually just be bringing them together. So we have this concept of a leadership summit, probably quite common across the industry, but where the top layer of the organization will come together. Included in that, we have the C-suite talking to them, reinforcing the messages. We will have a series of booths showing all of our flagship use cases, so they get that kind of intimate opportunity to ask questions and learn about what's going on. But we also give them the opportunity to play with the stuff. So we'll have a series of interactive exercises or stuff that are relatively light-hearted, but quickly help you to understand just how powerful and how transformative some of this stuff can be.
Great. So it takes a lot of effort and significant investment, but it's worth it given the stakes are really high. I'd like to take you back to the AI strategy, because I get asked a lot, right now, how do we go about creating an AI strategy? What's the process to do that? What should we expect? Do you have any guidance to offer, other leaders that are setting out to create an AI strategy for the organization? What sort of tips would you give them?
So I think importantly, and you have to do this first. Why are you creating an AI strategy? What are the outcomes that you want your strategy to have? Why is it important to you? And that takes a little bit of time that you must think about that.
And how do you get answers to those questions, actually?
By talking, I guess, to the right people. So for us, when we think about our AI strategy, it wasn't a small group of people in a room in a vacuum. It was a group of people, an expert network that they're connected to help inform their view, but working alongside our key stakeholders. So all of the businesses and all of the functions that we have to make sure that the strategy that we're forming actually delivers on the needs and the goals of the broader organization. Start with why. Why are you doing it? And then think a little bit about what is it that you want to do. There's various different options, and there's so much choice, and there's so much literature out there to read that you could soon, if you're not careful, create a strategy that looks like it's all things for all people. I would try and avoid that temptation. Try and actually think what makes most sense for us organizationally, and importantly, what is going to yield the outcomes that we spoke about earlier on. So for like the concept of AI helping to enhance your productivity might resonate in financial services. The concept of reshaping or reimagining how you achieve your outcomes, that might resonate. However, the concept of fully creating entirely new business models and stuff might be interesting, but it might not want to be sort of front and center for what you're trying to achieve. So be a bit selective.
Yeah, I love what you said. You can't be all things for all people. Strategy is about making choices, and be selective. That resonates a lot. And then you and the group decided on priorities. So that leads me nicely to the next question, which is, you've established the AI strategies, the priorities. There is a program around an AI first culture. At some point, you will need to select initiatives to roll out and implement. So I'd love to hear uh, how is UBS going about, prioritization of initiatives based on the AI strategy?
Okay, so alongside the formation of the strategy, we also enhanced our governance. So we have various different forums and operating committees that are set up to help shape this. As with many organisations, we've increased our level of investment into this field, and with that increased investment, you need to have the right oversight and the right sort of decision-making bodies in practice. We kind of think about our priorities in three different categories. What do we need to do to enable actually success with AI? What do we need to do to govern to ensure what we're doing is both responsible and sustainable? And then where do we want to place our chips? What are the use cases? What are the different things that the businesses and the divisions want to do? So our governing bodies will actually look at each of those things, will ensure that we have the optimal balance of investment across the three. And then when we sit and go through kind of on a more micro detail, we're asking ourselves, what's the likelihood of success? What's the strategic relevance of this? Fairly standard things, the return on investment, the payback period, that type of thing. We think about adoption as well, and learning from the past. So understanding where we've where things have gone well and why, and where things didn't go so well. And then importantly for us as such a large organization, the potential for reuse as well. The last thing that we want is to have 14, 15 different parts of the business building something that looks and smells quite similar to one another. So lots of different things that we're kind of factoring in there, but each of those things help us decide where our dollars are going.
Great. I couldn't help but think about some software engineering principle, as you said that. Like one is, I guess, code reuse, avoiding duplication, keep it simple. So it sounds like some of those principles are really embedded. So thank you, James. You mentioned enablement as sort of one of the pillar. How important is workforce enablement or workforce upskilling as part of, I guess, going and identifying, implementing those use cases?
Arguably as important as the use cases themselves, maybe more, in fact, because the reality is, if you don't have the people or the mindset to want to use them or to want to further develop them or enhance them, then those dollars are going to fall quite flat quite quickly. We're at the early stages of this, of this journey for many people. Ignore the 1,000 people who are already on the journey. For everyone else, we're kind of at the beginning. Some of the enabling type work is education based, and creating the right and sort of the right messaging and the right opportunities to learn. But alongside that is also providing the tools for people to learn, or a platform for people to learn. So I've heard, and you read quite often that, I think you've mentioned it on one of your prior podcasts, that some people are rolling Copilot out at scale, and seeing that almost as the solution. We are rolling Copilot out at scale. I think we're the largest in financial services. 50,000 odd licenses will be rolled out within the next month or so, if not already. But for us, that isn't say, oh look, we're now AI enabled. That's one step on the journey. That's to normalize the use of AI. That's to help people familiarize themselves that this isn't necessarily something to be feared, and this can help people be better. And I think as we go on this journey, there's going to be things like that are incremental in nature, and they're going to be the things that are really helpful. Once people become a little bit more fluent in operating with this type of technology alongside them, we think better ideas and more ideas are going to start to flow through.
Great. So people are super important, and you can't realize the value out of the technology investment without at the end of the day, people being comfortable with technology, using the technology and driving change. So that's why the AI first culture program is so vital and so exciting. So it all makes sense, James. So let me ask you a quick fire round if you're okay with it. Are you up for it?
Yeah, please.
Great. So what's a concern view that you have in the industry? And I guess specifically by industry, I mean kind of like the space of data and AI.
Perhaps somewhat biased based on our conversation back and forth just now, but to me, success with AI is not hinged on the fastest chips, the latest models, the smartest people. All of these are important and they're going to be pretty helpful, but like real success with AI is when you get your people to wake up every day and want to use it. The rest of that will then follow.
Great. Super answer. And we talked about it earlier. The space is moving so fast. How do you stay up to date as a leader, or what advice would you give other leaders for them to stay up to date?
My wife will laugh if she listens to this, but scrolling works for me. So whether that's scrolling through a news feed, scrolling through LinkedIn, looking at the various forums, I think the most important thing is find something that works for you. And you heard me speak about it, knowing just enough, actually a summary or an article or something like that gets me to just enough quite quickly.
Fantastic. And if you had a magic wand, what would be the number one issue you wish you could solve in the industry right now?
If I got to wave my wand, I would really be waving it to say, anytime you use AI, make sure that the outcomes are of benefit to humanity. And anything that falls below that pretty high benchmark is blocked.
Great. And as an example of AI for good, I know UBS does a lot of work with charities to help them use the apprenticeship levy to upskill their workforce through Cambridge Spark. So there's a lot of good stuff that UBS does in the space. And what about your favorite music genre?
Ooh, tough one. Situational. If I'm trying to zone out or work or put my children to sleep, classical music. If I'm kicking back, relaxing, maybe some power ballads or something that I still know the words to would serve me well.
Great. And finally, your favorite subject at school?
I think business studies. I always found it so fascinating. Learning kind of the inner workings, learning from a very young age about the what drives organizations, what a business plan looks like, and all the different things that you have to think about in able to be able to successfully run a business.
Wonderful. It's been great to have you on the show today, James. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thanks for having me.
This was a fascinating episode with James. So much good energy. And also, it was really great to see how things happen in such a large organization like UBS. There were several takeaways that I picked up. One was this idea of AI first culture. I really like James' definition and way to think about it. It's about shared values, behaviors to empower the whole workforce to work effectively with AI to deliver creativity, innovation, productivity, and efficiency. But also what Jim says, what it isn't. And it's not about replacement here. It's not about human replacement. It's really about augmentation and empowerment. And this topic leads really nicely in Cambridge Spark Level 3 AI Champion Apprenticeship. The program helps identify those champions that are going to deliver internal training, are going to identify use cases, and act as the change agent in the organization to really foster this AI first culture. So that was a great takeaway. Now, I also enjoyed a discussion around how is the whole transformation actually delivered, right? It started with the AI strategy. There was a process to flesh it out. And as James said, it starts with the why. Why should we do it? And what outcomes do we want to achieve? And something that is really important is you can't be all things for all people. You have to be specific and make choices. And this cascaded down into a series of educational initiatives, workshops that are highly tailored for specific audience. which then feeds into additional champion program and use case implementation. Finally, I really like how James makes it a daily habit, scrolling everywhere to stay up to date with the latest advancements in the field. And I think today, as a leader, that's a really important habit. Thank you, everybody, for listening in, and see you on the next episode. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Data and AI Mastery. If you found value in today's discussion, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an insight from the leaders driving the future of data and AI. And if you're a data and AI leader looking to upskill your workforce with the fundamental data and AI skills to transform your business, Cambridge Spark is here to guide you every step of the way. Be sure to reach out to us on LinkedIn or on our website, cambridgespark.com. Until then, be sure to keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with data, and remember, mastery comes with continued learning and action. Until next time, stay ahead, stay inspired, and stay masterful.